What's going on, YouTube fam? I have one of my top students, Max Lyons, with me on the call. And Max, how much did you just get funded with?
$250,000 account, which
Okay,
is right.
nice. Congratulations. April 23rd, 2024.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I know you've been trading for a while and a lot of your successes really started to happen recently. What was your background on maybe like your upbringing or just more about yourself? Like, let's hear more about yourself and then we'll talk about like how you got involved in trading.
Yeah. So I'm a firstborn. I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri. I've bounced around. I've been around the block a couple times, especially growing up. Very ambitious, very goal oriented. Like, kind of knew that there was something different. And as I ended up growing up, I kind of came to the realization that I was more unconventional and unorthodox and how I view the world, how I expect outcomes, and just how I've gone through schooling to begin with. And I almost feel like, looking back on it, my parents, my dad is a police chief, my mom's a nurse, and a very conservative household growing up, especially in the Midwest. And just, I don't want to say like I was pressured to continue to go and go and go and, like, you got to do this, you got to go to this college, you got to pick this degree and do all of that and have it laid out. But it kind of was like, as the firstborn, it was almost expected that I was going to have my stuff together and that I would have to basically go out on my own and be so independent. And it was that mindset of, oh, get a job as soon as you graduate, like you have to get a degree, and like, oh, if you can go for a master's program, do that. And at one point in college, I was at a small D2 university. I was a triple major in financial management, business management, and accounting, and I was taking 27 credits a semester, which is like 9 classes. And I did that for 3 years because I was supposed to be on a fast track to and a special program to get my MBA done my senior year of college. So take a typical 4 to 5 year undergrad and squeeze it into a 3 year, and then
Mm,
take that last year to do an entire MBA program, which is typically 2. So you take 6 years of college and cram it into 3.5 or 4. And I ended up graduating with my undergrad at like over 3 years, 3 years in a semester. And I couldn't get any prospects to be a financial advisor, to be an intern. I couldn't get, it's almost like it was who you knew at that point. But in the Midwest, it's like either you get with Northwestern Mutual or something, or you like, you have to know somebody that's got the credibility and somehow connections. But through a small D2 college, it's near impossible to even get to where you want to go without really scraping by. But in the summers of college, I worked on a golf course. And there was one summer that I was outside in the rain. And I was like, why don't I just do this? Because I've always had a creative mind. I've always done home projects. I've always loved being outside, grass, mowing, like all of that. So then I ended up doing a couple internships, and then was like, I should probably go to school for this to get a degree if I wanted to have some sort of career in what's called turf management. And I went to Rutgers because I'd never heard of them on the East Coast. I've never been anywhere else besides Kansas City or Midwest and Texas and stuff like that. And so I moved to the East Coast with Rutgers and ended up getting in with a couple good guys, like 4 good buddies, solid dudes. And one of them convinced me to end up quitting the job in Kansas City to go work in Jersey. So the kind of the saying, I guess you can correlate it, relate it to life, is that if you have goals and you know where you want to go, sometimes you have to go all the way to the top to then settle back down to
Wow.
where it's going to be somewhat reasonable for you. So, for example, I ended up having to go work 7 months as an intern. I demoted myself with less pay to go work at a top 100 golf club. And from there, having that on my resume allowed me to go settle at a lower end club that gave me, a little more money, a little more flexibility in time and scheduling and stuff. And so then I stayed in New Jersey and then made my way down here to Florida. So, but I've always had trading probably for 5 years now because I tried doing it before I went to college, and I got into it with a couple guys and was in like a paid mentorship and a subscription or whatever, and signal service, what they call them today,
Yeah.
signal services. And back then I was on MetaTrader, and it's so crazy to me to see how it is today versus how it was back then with
Wow.
inputting trades through MetaTrader on my phone. I was working at a public course and I had put a trade in on some forex pair. It might have been cable. And I let the trade run overnight. I walk into work and I pull it up on my phone. It was like $280
And
on,
profited?
it was still running $270 on like a $700 account that I had funded. And I showed it to one of the older guys, the retired guys. He was just like, I'm a mower. And I was like, this is insane. I'm making $270 from my phone right now. I'm freaking 18 years old. I didn't end up closing the trade because didn't know then what I know now. But I settled for like $110 when I could have got out with like 300. And then that's what kind of like turned the gears for me to be like, this is something that's a bit bigger than myself. And then the typical things like we'll talk about, like over leveraging and stuff, like I ended up falling out with it and then picked it back up maybe a year and a half ago, two
Yeah.
years. And so then we're at today, basically.
And I know that we got connected. Bro, I remember like you used to follow me back when I first started trading like a long time ago, I think. And I remember you signed up for my signals chat one day. I was like, Max Lyons. I was like, that name sounds really familiar. And I remember calling you. I was like, bro, what's like I talked to you for a second, then we talked about the mentorship, and you're like, let's do it. Damn. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, that's what I like to hear. You were super serious about it, and then that's how we like
Yeah.
really got connected. So
Yeah.
total, how long have you been trading for then? I know you had an off period, but without that time, has it been like 4 or 5 years?
Yeah. I'd say closer to 6 if you count this year. Yeah. 6 years.
Okay. What made you want to like start trading again?
Uh, Last year, I was kind of a little bored, but I also was trying to start some apparel company on the side. So I had actually like bought the domain for this company. I've always wanted to own my own apparel store. So I created this company called the Sailboat Gang, put it up on Shopify, had it running with Facebook ads and meta ads, uh, and did that for like 7 months. I had all the designs, I had all this like social media ideas and all of this stuff. And I was looking at myself like, it's like maybe if this doesn't work out, I need to have a plan B or plan C. And if I could get it to a point where if I was bringing in enough income from trading, I could use it to fund my other wants, needs, or desires that I have. Like I've got goals written down on pages and a lot of them in my head. And I'm like, I would love to just master the art of trading so that one day, maybe instead of it coming out of my sole income working a career in the golf industry, I could use it to then supplement, like, say, a business on the side or two businesses on the side. So then I had fallen out watching the markets, and it was tough for me getting back into it because of that lag period, the lag time of me being away for so long. And then I started looking up all your videos again because I had known about you. So then I started rewatching all of it. And there was one video that you did last year about prop firms. And I had watched it through, didn't really know what it was about. And then you hit me up and asked me, hey, have you ever heard of prop firms? And I was like, no, not really. And you're like, check this out. And it blew my mind. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. All
Yeah.
the, and this was back when, like, this way before FTMO started denying US clients. Like, this is almost, I would say, at their peak. Even though they'd been around for 20 plus years, nobody really heard of them until,
Not 20 years, since 2015. But yeah.
but nobody had really heard of them until
Yeah.
recently, until it started blowing up on YouTube, and all these wannabe millionaires and 18-year-olds started saying, oh, look, we can go to FTMO and we can start maxing out all this and you can pass it in a day or two. So I did my own research, my own soul searching on prop firms, and it was a no-brainer. It makes so much sense, especially like what I have with Apex. It's hands down the best way to go.
Yeah. Okay. So you've been in the game for about 6 years now. Let's talk about your struggles, because I know we did the mentorship about a year ago, a little under a year, I think. What really brought you to finally getting that $250,000 in funding, and like what were some of the struggles that you went through?
Like I said earlier, over leveraging for years, and it's more of the mindset, really. Uh, Let me put it this way: the only way that I truly got this first 250 was I heard somebody say, whatever your drawdown is, your max drawdown on that account, in order to pass it, like push aside everybody else. It's like, oh, you can pass this in 2 days, and you can get $10,000 in one trade just by trading the market open. If you take what the max drawdown is, so for me it's $6,500 on a 250K account. You're paying for that drawdown. Good risk management, if you're only doing 0.25% or 0.5%, allows you the opportunity to take 10 trades on a complete losing streak if you were missing the ball every single time. But that also gives you so much more room to then progress. Maybe you slip up and you have a losing day, and then you can bounce right back and say, turn it, that 0.25% risk, into 0.5% or 1% reward. So once I got down to the nitty gritty of it, like looking at it on paper instead of just seeing the bigger numbers on the screen, like I hear people all the time being like, as soon as I started trading with bigger numbers, I lost my focus. I don't look at it like that. Like, if you just write it down and you say, this is my plan, and you stick to it, yeah, it sucks. And you got to get over revenge trading because it's so crucial right now in this business.
Yeah.
But that 10 trades allows me the freedom. Like today, if I take a loss, I'm like, okay, well, now I've got tomorrow. I've got 2 weeks. That's enough time for me to sit down and really have a stress-free life with trading, and still know that I've got the funding there. If I can just work with it, like they're giving me all the tools I need to succeed with it. But everybody else's mindset is, let's just go out there and just blow it. Let's blow it. Like I blow it, I get buy it, reset it, get another one, like keep on going, an endless cycle. And yeah, I've blown accounts. I've done it. I think everybody has. But what differentiates the people who keep on in that cycle of consistently getting more and more accounts versus the people that have a couple of them and they stick with them is game changer. It right now it's like all these like big umbrella ideas and like everybody wanting to get in the fast lane and think this is a fast track to success. It's
Yeah.
not like that at all. Like I had a huge come to Jesus moment probably the start of this year where I sat down and truly wrote out my goals for this year. And it I cannot accomplish my goals by saying I'm going to get these 5 accounts, I'm going to pay for them and have all of them every single day without a trade copy or going in and making these trades on every single one and then toggling back through all of them, checking to make sure that they're all going up in profit or maybe it's dipping down below my entry price. Like, yeah, you just have to sit down and get serious with it and recognize that you're playing a long game. It's a marathon. So I don't care if Apex or FTMO or any other funding company says you need a minimum 5 days. I'm not going to take 5 days and say, okay, $2,000 this day, $5,000 that day, just to get
Seriously.
up there quicker. If I need to take 20 days to pass an account, I'm going to take 20 days to pass an account. If I need 60 days to do it, I'll do 60.
Yeah.
It all depends on the feedback and response that the market's given me.
That's powerful right there. I know that you have your journal that you've been using. What like is your strategy for journal? Do you journal after you trade, during, before?
Yeah, I do it after. I do like a mental analysis in my head before I actually take the trade because I've found over the days that I have success, I have some sort of instinct, some sort of gut feeling that tells me that something's going right. And my plan for this year is like, yeah, the technicals are great, fundamentals, we all follow those. But there's an instinct, kind of like maybe even a knee jerk reaction to where you get a good feeling that, okay, my setup's there, my risk management's properly defined, my, everything is marked up in the charts the way that I would like to see it. And the feedback I get from the market is correct. Okay, that's a check mark, number one. So that's a green flag. Move on from there, enter the trade. You're waiting and waiting. And as the trade evolves and it plays out, and it ends up either hitting my take profit or my stop loss, I mean, to me, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, when I go to do my analysis, as long as my setup was forming, was there, and then my analysis was on point, if my risk management was followed to the T and I still lost that trade, I'm not going to bang myself up for it because I know that I was following my rules. A lot
Yeah.
of people, a lot of people are getting so hung up on the fact that okay, it's a losing trade, so now I'm in a deep, dark abyss, in a pit of sorrow and pity for yourself because of how the trade ended up going the wrong way. But as long as everything is followed to a T and risk management's great, there's nothing to worry about.
This is something that I made and it's a trading risk checklist. And I'm totally on what you say. It's like that gut feeling. But one of the key things that I look for is how confident am I when I'm looking at that trade? And it's like I risk 1% if there's low confidence levels. I risk 2% if I'm feeling confident about this trade, but then I'll risk 3% if I'm feeling very, very high confidence levels. And I have right here, it says never risk more than 3%. So this is like a little checklist that I made, and I have a picture of my perfect trade setup. So I have an expo marker where I'll just go through on the day and I'll put a little X onto which one it qualifies as. So I think little activities like this are really going to help traders to not over leverage their account, because that's what a lot of people are doing. They're like, oh, I'm going to risk this much, this much, this much. Like, I believe for every trade, there's different criteria that needs to be met. And when it actually comes to like trading, you need to understand and you need to be logical with yourself and be like, bro, I'm not feeling high levels of confidence, because there's a quote, it says day trading is not everyday trading. And so many people, it's so easy to go and just click, click, click the button on your mouse pad and take a trade. But the loss is like you had to go through those days where you were greedy, you revenge traded to get to where you are. And it's like the 5 stages of change. You know about that, right?
Yo, if you guys are looking to scale your trading business and you want to get to the next level, whether you're just starting out or you already have some experience in the trading industry, you need to join us at Reward Over Risk. We have a bunch of programs like one-on-one mentorship, where I actually have a 10-day class where I show you my exact strategies. We have live trading sessions where we get on Zoom calls and trade together as a community. And we also have trading softwares that can trade 100% hands-free for you. We have everything that you need to take over your trading this year and the following years. But the only way for you to apply for this is to click the link in the description and book a phone call. Once again, click the link in the description, book a phone call, and let's see if you're a good fit to be a part of our community. Talk soon.
Yep. Yep. We
Yeah.
talk about them every week.
Yeah. Seriously, it's so important. And I've been like trying to figure out how is the quickest way that a trader can get from stage 1 where they make a mistake but they're not cognizant to finally getting to stage 5 where they finally overcome that mistake that they're making. And I figured out it's like just admitting and understanding that we make mistakes, but admitting that that mistake was made and being conscious of it versus blaming, oh, the markets did this, they were choppy. And I catch myself doing that all the time still to this day. I'll be like, oh, there was this news. And it's like, no, bro, come on. I know what my perfect setup looks like. I rushed it. I felt anxiety or whatever it is, and I should not have taken that trade. And that's what journaling does for me, is it allows me to write down my emotions and feelings and really break it down so I can review it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the biggest thing with trading and over leveraging, the way I look at it is the prop firm space is a business model, right?
Yeah.
So to us as the trader, as we're trying to pass these challenges, and there's mixed reviews of guys out there on YouTube, but if you have already established that it's a business model, and like I've got a sticky note on my computer that says that we're learning to be independent thinkers and impeccable risk managers. So if you're trying to do that and follow life as a trader like a business, and if like for yourself, they have established your risk threshold. So does it make any sense for me to go in and blow accounts after accounts after accounts after accounts that in their back dashboard they can see all of that? So the more times that I take trying to pass accounts and get to just having that first payout, if I am so greedy enough to the point where I don't care, the great thing about prop firms is that you can spend $50 to reset your account and then you're back to normal and then you can start all over again. But if you're not following any rules or have any self-discipline through that process, how are you expecting to do that as a full-time trader once you have an actual funded account? Everybody's so hard pressed to get them now. We live in a day and age of people that want things instantaneously.
Well, that's what it's become, because you look on Instagram and TikTok and people are getting these short dopamine hits nonstop. You can get it within seconds. And that, but also social media has really corrupted people's minds, because there's this facade of people living this lifestyle that they really do not live. And I think that a lot of people are comparing somebody else's lifestyle to theirs. And there's two things. First off, a quote that I love is, comparison is the thief of all joy. So true. I feel that when I compare myself to someone I feel like depressed. I'm like, why am I not there? They're doing this and that. And then secondly, I've been reading this book, The Psychology of Money. And a lot of people, when they make money, large amounts of money, they have this natural instinct to, oh, I need to flaunt it to show off to other people that I have it. Two things once again. First, I think a lot of people flex. At least I used to do that. I sold my freaking bust down watch recently, bro. I sold some of my other jewelry. I barely wear jewelry anymore because I lacked attention as a child. And now in my adult life, now that I got money, I use that to try and attract people's attention when it really did not give me the attention I wanted. And I was only drawing attention, this is my second point, from people that really did not care about me. And it sucks that people have to do that, but now I'm getting to this point where I want to make an impact with my money. I don't want to just flex my money and show people, hey, look at me. I got a lot of money and I have a Lambo and stuff. Like, I've experienced driving the Lambos. I've experienced driving the Ferraris. I've experienced the mansions. Like, what really brings true fulfillment is working on oneself and seeing myself grow every day as a trader, or just every day as Colt, or the entrepreneur side, the business side of Colt. It's just growth is one thing that really gives me and brings me fulfillment in this life. So I think that you're spot on with that point, bro. A lot of people, they're just trying to rush it. They want to make money as quick as they can. And
Yep.
a lot of people, though, they do not have the years of experience under their belt, but they also, a lot of people, some of you watching this right now, you need to understand that the process is your number one focus right now, not the end goal. Because there's some of you on here that you just want to get freaking, you need money right now. You don't like the job that you work. You're betting that trading is going to be that lottery ticket. That's how people are viewing trading. Like, this is the winning lottery ticket. I'm going to go from 10 to 100 to 100 to 1,000, 1,000 to 10, 100, and so on and so forth.
Yep.
So I agree with that.
Yep. And I've found, just doing it, some inner searching of myself, that just as the firstborn and everybody having these other expectations of me and like saying I'm a go-getter, I've developed like this complex of, I would love to prove some people wrong. And it's kind of snowballed effect over time, and being more quiet and, more independent and just kind of more inward thinking. Like, I'm not as outward spoken or extroverted as a lot of other people are. And so I've naturally pushed away so many people that have come into my life because I want to focus on having success for myself. And especially over the last couple of years, it's like I've kind of taken on that mentality of trading is the thing that I want to do because I have such a passion in it. And I thought it was working on golf courses and, working and mixing up chemicals. And like, it's so much more than that outside person sees. And I think that's what I love about it, is the more complex challenges that I can solve for myself, the more fulfilling I become. Because the more hard work that I put into something, I always like looking back on it saying, I did that, I solved it, and I'm proud of it because it's an end product of something I created myself. And I get so discouraged with people that I've surrounded myself with that talk so much about themselves. They talk so much about their ego, so much about their pride, or they talk about how they look, or, look at this thing that I've done, or, other people that are seeking outside validation because they can't fulfill it for themselves. And I think that, I could be wrong, but I am in of myself am so much more aware of those facts that it's just kind of like the tip of the iceberg that other people see, but I tend to dive a little more deeper into it. And it's more from like reading and more from watching videos. And, when I work during the day, instead of listening to music, or, listening to music on in my car. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening
Yeah.
to. There's so many more things to do. Like I've gotten pushed and prodded and pulled to go out and do this. Like, let's go to this club. Let's go to this party. Let's go do, let's go drink in this. Or let's go on this trip. And I'm just sitting there like, everybody wants the validation and success today. Everybody wants to win the lottery today. They want to go out and do this thing. But like, it's delayed gratification. If you can have delayed gratification and, like what Dave Ramsey says, it's like you got to do the things that other people are not willing to do now so that in the future you can do the things that nobody else can do.
Facts. That's a big key point, and I would love to break down the, oh, it's this and this and that. It's just, that's really what it comes down to, bro. People do not want to put in the work, and they're honestly very lazy, and they want results immediately. And like I said a second ago, a lot of people have this persona that I'm getting into trading to make money, but they expect to make money without having to change themselves. And trading really makes you change yourself. You got to start working on your health habits. You got to start working on your relationships with people. You got to start working on your patience. There's so many things. Like, patience is one of the biggest things that I've struggled with all throughout my life. And I've now conquered not getting road rage in traffic. I've now conquered waiting for the food to come out of a restaurant when it's taking too slow. And it's just, you really have to become a completely different individual and change to really start seeing success in this industry. And I think that's what a lot of people need to understand is it's going to be hard. And trading is a very lonely sport. Nobody is there. I'm not looking over your shoulder saying, Max, is that a good move that you should do? There's a lot of self accountability that needs to be taken. And it all starts with your day-to-day habits. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're not habitual in other aspects of your life and you're failing in those aspects, you're definitely not going to have the success that you're desiring in trading. I see that all the time, bro. I see people, I'm like, bro, you don't have any discipline to hit the gym. You don't have discipline to watch what food you put in your mouth, and you expect to have discipline in your trading. And it's not a bad thing. It's just once you're consciously aware of this and you're like, wow, I feel like that's when people start to really get their breakthrough and they go from here to here. Is they're like, I'm now consciously aware of what needs to be done, and learning a trading strategy is super easy. Like, bro, you can be profitable using the RSI strategy. Crosses over to 30 buy, 70 sell. Like, that's a strategy that for sure works. Maybe some key things that need to go into it, but then it's like, okay, you need to work like how's your patience? How's your greed, as you mentioned? Are you able to hold a trade till take profit or stop loss without closing? Are you able to back test it every single day?
Yep. Like let me get real. Like a couple of years ago, I would watch your interviews with other people. I'd watch guys having success with landing accounts. I've seen your success. I mean, I followed you. I've been on your sidelines for years at this point. And for everybody that's watching, it's very, very tough to be on those sidelines. Like, just in our chats, our private chats, it's interesting to see how many eyeballs look at the things that you post versus how many people are in the chat. Like, it's a game changer how many people actually take it serious. But for those that think that's not going to happen for them, I used to be the exact same way. I used to be on the sidelines looking at everybody else's success. Like, I'm going to have that someday. I just don't know when, and I don't know how to get there.
That's the mindset right there. Keep going, bro. Keep preaching. You're preaching right now. Let's go.
Yeah. It's like those small steps to, like you said, become cognitively aware of where you're at right now. What is your situation? I wish that because I want to give back to so many other people, just myself. Like if I had 10 people in a room, I would love to have everybody write down, what is your situation right now? How do you want to get there? And even me, like I'm in the process of this too. Like I know where I want to get to, but back test it yourself on paper and say what are the steps on how I get there? And then you start incrementally making those changes to get there. Like for us in our chat, it's show up on time every single day,
Yeah.
besides the days that you're not going to be trading. See it. The more you see it, you'll start recognizing patterns. That after the patterns, you can start dialing in with like risk management. And after risk management, you can focus on your mental game. And you can interchange them and do them in different orders, but it's amazing to me to see how many people are quick to call it a scam or a get rich quick scheme, and how many people like yourself that are actually out there living it. It's kind of mind numbing to just see other people's success and the gall and the audacity for people to say, oh, that's not for me. All right, well, you're going to be part of the other 99.999% of people that are going through the same thing. I've got I-95 that's not even a mile from my house. And then when I go in my backyard at night, I can hear all those cars on the highway. And every single time I hear it, the thought I have is those are people that have scratched up, saved for every vacation. They're out there driving. They're probably on their way home or heading to a job, working 40 hours a week, and they hate their life and they're miserable.
Yeah.
Most of them. But how many out of those people are actually willing to invest themselves, go with something that's a little unconventional than what everybody's brought up knowing, like trading? And the things I know now have completely, my piece of paper from having a degree in finance is kind of like, it's irrelevant now. And the money that I spent to get it, the money I spent, the years I spent trying to get it, I was like, I should have been focusing with you on day one. And I probably should have gone, not even gone to that university, because the amount of lost years that people spend, I'm only 26, so I'm talking like I'm 50, but
Bro.
the lost years of me not putting into this, it's hard not to look back and feel guilt about it. But things happen, and you just got to put your your head forward and just keep looking towards the future, basically.
That's very, very powerful what you said, everything, and I'm in total agreement with it. Dude, it's I mentioned this after I posted your story or your video you sent me on Instagram. I was like, you guys, so many of you are missing out because you haven't yet started. Just start. You don't have to buy my program. You don't have to do this. Just like start taking steps. And that's why I started doing this forex masterclass where I go live on Instagram and YouTube every Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. PST, is because I want to introduce as many people to this concept as I possibly can. And when we see students like you winning, they're getting $250,000 in funding, bro. And 10%, if you do 10% of that a month, that's $25,000 in your pocket. Like, that's life-changing money, bro. You do that for a couple of months, you're good. You're good, bro. So
yeah, it's totally obtainable, and it's by me breaking it down into small little bits and parts of it, and then trying to tackle it one by one instead of trying to tackle all of it at once. It makes it so much more manageable.
dude, I think everything that you just said was very powerful. If you guys are watching this right now, this is definitely an interview where you should go rewatch it again, just because we don't need to sit here and be like, look at the charts, here's this setup, this is what you should take, because that's not what's going to give you a breakthrough. It's the mindset. So a lot of traders, I feel like a lot of traders, they need to reframe the way that they think, get rid of old habits and thought patterns, and start to develop those new thought patterns. So, bro, if you have anything else to add on, other than that, I think this was a great interview, bro. I'm super fucking proud of you and your success and getting $250,000 in funding, which is huge. And we're gonna need to do another follow-up interview with your profits coming soon.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would just stick with it, because so many people go through the same thing I went through 6 years ago, which was it's not for me, it's too much work, or it's too much to look at on a screen, or when I'm looking at it, I don't know what I'm looking at. And people fail and they give up.
Yeah.
The people that continue to stand back up after they keep getting knocked back down are the people that end up far more successful, not just financially, but mentally and maybe even physically too, than those that don't. And I want to be one of those people that continues to get back up. Because if you can land on your feet, there's a new day tomorrow and another day after that.
Max, I love that. It's good, bro. Thanks for hopping on here, Max. Appreciate everything.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Not a lot of people made it to the end of the video, but you did. Make sure you share this video with a friend. Also, comment below. I want to know who you guys are and how I can help you guys out with your trading. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button. I'm dropping weekly videos every single week on trading to help you guys out. Look forward to seeing you guys soon.